Our guest tonight is former NFL VP of officiating and current rules analyst for Fox Sports,
Good,
Dean Blandino. How you doing? Great. Appreciate your time. Hey, Dean, first question I want to ask you is, how did you get into officiating?
Yeah, it was an interesting journey. I had, it wasn't necessarily something that I was exposed to when I was younger. I'd played football and played a lot of sports, loved the game, loved the NFL. And when I graduated from college, I just, I grew up in New York. I went to school in New York. The NFL's, NBA, MLB, they all have offices in New York City. Just sent my resume, just took a shot in the dark. And the NFL called. They had a couple of internships open. I went in and interviewed for a couple, and they offered me the one in officiating. And I didn't have any knowledge about officiating, but I said, hey, it's the NFL. I just want to get my foot in the door. And I started as an intern, and that was the 1994 season, and fresh out of school, and just worked my way from that point, and it became something that I was really passionate about.
All right. And then also, Dean, the NFL season's almost over. What role changes do you think we'll see in next season?
Well, I think they're gonna experiment. Obviously, this off season was different with COVID, and it was kind of an abbreviated off season. There wasn't the normal rules meetings and things like that. We didn't have a preseason, so I think the league is going to definitely take a look at more getting replay involved, kind of a sky judge, video official type concept, where the replay official can help out with different things. If there's an obvious mistake that maybe it's not reviewable, maybe it's a face mask or something like that, where they could help out and give the on-field officials information in real time. So I think that's something the league is going to look at.
And obviously, so we saw last year that, after the Saints and Rams NFC Championship game, the pass interference call came into play. It was gone this year, but do you see that coming back and actually leaving that up to officials instead of coaches?
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't go very well last year. And one of the issues, because pass interference is such a subjective call. And normally with instant replay, you're dealing with facts, right? The ball hit the ground, or the knee was down, things like that. With pass interference, it's not just was there contact before the ball got there, but was that enough contact to restrict the receiver's ability to make a play on the ball? So it is very subjective. Didn't go very well last year, but I think the league will continue to look at that and potentially expand instant replay as the technology continues to get better. And as long as we don't make it too obtrusive, like interrupt the game too much, I think it's a good thing.
All right. Thank you, dude.
Hey, good evening, Dean.
Hey, Kendall.
Hey, I want to stay on the pass interference. Could you see them changing the spot foul pass interference rule in the future?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that the competition committee has discussed in the past, looking at the college rule, right? The college rule, it's either the spot of the foul or 15 yards. And if it's beyond 15, I think one of the concerns with going to the college rule in the NFL is because the NFL, you have, these are the elite athletes, the best of the best. And would you negatively impact the deep passing game? Whereas if I'm a defensive back and I know I'm beat and we're 30 yards downfield, I might just, take my chances, play aggressively, grab the receiver, because the worst thing I could do is get 15 versus giving up a touchdown. So I think that's always been the concern with taking away the spot foul. I'm sure it'll continue to be discussed, but I don't think that is something that I would foresee in the near future.
Do you think it's more problems officiating in the XFL than the NFL, or it's probably about the same?
I think football is football. So whatever level it is, I enjoyed being a part of the XFL, and it was, it was really good football. What I loved about the XFL is that, we kind of had, more transparency. You were able to listen to the on-field officials, listen to the replay official. So obviously the NFL is the best of the best, and it's the fastest, and it happens so quickly. So I think that's probably the highest level of officiating, but the XFL wasn't that far behind it.
Yes, appreciate it. And lastly, me, Fidel, and Jerry, and everybody and their grandma, they know it was a catch in Green Bay with can you break it down why I want to catch?
That was the rule at the time. It when you're going to the ground, you have to maintain control all the way to the ground. The ball hit the ground, it came loose. That rule has been a rule that has been debated and tweaked and changed over many years. And there have been a lot of plays that have been, Calvin Johnson, Dez, a lot of other plays that have been discussed over the years. And, I've been a part of that. And that's something we're always going to debate, catch, no catch plays.
Appreciate it, Dean.
Got it.
Hey Dean, this is Jerry. So Dean, I did some homework on you.
Okay.
I just one of those things. I try my best to, get to know the actual individual or guests that we bring on, and I've learned, like, you actually, the NFL was your first job, so to say. Like, you, like you said, you did an internship and you got chosen for that one. Also found out that you are a Giants fan also along the process, and you and your family. Um, so let's just jump right into it, right? I have a couple questions. So
Yeah.
so and this question I had tried to ask Steve White this question, and just a side note, I try never to ask the same question twice, but this question, I think it's a little different. So, with the Steve White attempt, I it was ruled a not catch, right? But anyways, aside from the jokes, in what ways did that infamous call change your life in general? I mean, I've also learned that you have a very tough skin. So I know that I'm pretty sure you can just brush anything off. But in what ways did it change your life as far as when you had to make that infamous call?
Well, it didn't change it much. When you get involved, what I learned about officiating right away is that you're not going to make everybody happy, and a lot of times you're going to have a lot of upset people, no matter what you do. So sometimes there are decisions that you have to make that are going to be unpopular no matter what. One team's fans are gonna hate it, the other team's fans are gonna love it, and so you learn that right away. That particular call didn't change much. I've got thick skin. If you follow me on Twitter, there are a lot of people out there that will say a lot of crazy things and a lot of mean things, but that doesn't, like, I never take that stuff personally. I've dealt with coaches on Sunday night or Monday morning who are upset that just lost a football game, that think the officials screwed something up. You just get used to that, and it's just dealing with people. My experience has always been pretty positive with people once you get to connect with them one-on-one or meet them in person, whereas a lot of people on social media sometimes it is very negative, and especially when it relates to officiating. But that call didn't change my life very much. You're always gonna have controversy, and when you're in officiating, and you just kind of deal with it.
I always wondered if you and Des ever caught up afterwards. I mean,
Yeah,
being
I we kind of played around a little bit on Twitter, and I was actually at the Cowboys facility that spring doing, meeting with the coaching staff, and Des had just left. So I haven't had a chance to see him in person, but I'm happy. I'm happy to see him with the Ravens now and back in
yeah.
the league and on the roster. So I hope he does well, and we'll always be connected because of that call. So I always root for him and him to do well.
That's awesome. Also, let me ask you. So nowadays, for the younger crowd, right, or anybody in the middle in the middle of their age, or at the back end, women or men, if they want to be an official, is interning the best route, or is there a better route that maybe perhaps you could explain? And if you could just add to it, what would their work life balance look like if they do make it into officiating?
Yeah, it's so my road was different. Being an internship, having an internship at the NFL office, that's not something that most people get that opportunity. I was really lucky to be in that position. Most people who start out in officiating, they start out officiating, little, whether it's pee wee football or junior high or high school. They start at that level, and then they kind of just work their way up. A lot of times it's, you talk to football officials, they just got started, they were in college, they wanted to make some extra money, they'd work a couple games on the weekend, and they just fell in love with it, or it's people that played the game that wanted to stay involved with the game and they just worked their way up. So just like anything else, you start at the lower levels, you get to high school, then you get to a college conference, maybe Division III or Division II, and then ultimately you work your way up to Division I, and then the very few that are lucky enough to get to the NFL, they make that jump. So it's really just contacting the local high school association, getting hooked up with the group of officials. They meet now. It's all virtual meetings, but they meet during the season on a weekly basis, learning the ropes, and then getting out there and officiating. So that's kind of how that's the normal road for people that become officials.
Interesting. And how's that work-life balance look like if you're in the NFL
Yeah,
official?
it's so, if you can imagine, I've been involved in officiating for, over 25 years, and you don't, football season is tough because you're working 7 days a week. When I was at the NFL, coaches keep crazy hours. They're working 80, 90 hours a week. You're on call pretty much the entire time. And so you're working a lot of hours. You don't get weekends, during the fall, Christmas time, Thanksgiving, you're working, those types of things. So you really have to make an effort to maintain that work-life balance. And a lot of that is in the off season. We're taking time to spend more time with your family, your loved ones, your friends, things like that. So, but during the season, it's pretty hectic. And you think about an official, they're a lot of them are working other jobs during the week, and then they get on a plane, or they drive to their city that they're going to work the game on Friday or Saturday, work a game over the weekend, and then start all over on Monday again. So it's a lot, and you really have to work hard to maintain that good balance between the work and your family and your loved ones.
That's insane, right? But I got one more for you. So, you've worked for the NFL, right? And we've seen you on Fox. So you've been able to work for the NFL directly and for Fox. So if when you compare the two, which one have you enjoyed the most and why?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've enjoyed both for different reasons. I loved being a part of the NFL. That's where I kind of grew up. Like you said, it was my first real job out of college, and so I grew up there in my professional career, and I loved being a part of the game. I loved game day. I loved talking to coaches. I loved being a part of the rules committee, the competition committee, and looking at ways to make the game safer and make it better. So I love that about the NFL. With Fox, it's been great because I've been able to see a different side of football, and I get to see on the TV side and the production, learn that part of it, and I've been exposed to so many really great people. And the other thing is, I've had the ability, now not working for the NFL, I've had the ability to do other things, like work with the XFL, and I work with the NCAA. So I've been able to branch out and do some other things, and that's been a real blessing for me. So I've loved both organizations, and for different reasons, but they've both been amazing to me.
I will say this: I really enjoyed the last call with you and Mike
Oh
Pereira.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fun. We always
and
have a
for
lot of.
and for those that are interested, we're I mean, I know I've seen it on YouTube, but is it
Yeah.
available just on YouTube?
YouTube, Facebook, the Fox Sports app. I'll usually, if you go to my Twitter page at Dean Blandino, I'll usually tweet out a link. And that's, Mondays. We do it every Monday during the football season at 4:30 Eastern. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Probably about a half hour. We talk about officiating and rules and plays and some other things. I make fun of Mike Pereira, so it's a good time.
Yeah, it is cool. Well, Dean, thank you so much for your time with me.
You got it.
Hey, Dean, real quick before we let you go, I just want to ask you, what's been the most controversial call you've been a part of?
Well, I think certainly the Des play has been the most controversial, just because of, it was a playoff game, and the rule was very controversial to start with. So I think that's probably the one. I've been involved in so many big calls over my career that I can remember. I was in the replay booth for, going back, the Patriots and Giants, the David Tyree, the helmet catch. Even Patriots, Falcons, when the Patriots came back And with that comeback, and Julian Edelman made an unbelievable catch in the fourth quarter of that game. There were so many calls that I've been a part of, and but I definitely say the Dez play is definitely the most controversial and the one that kind of sticks with me. And I still get reminders feel like it's almost like every day I get a Cowboy fan just, hey, I didn't forget about you. You suck. So it's
All right, Dean.
The-
Well, hey, we appreciate your time, and we all enjoy all the work you do, and hopefully we can talk to you down the road.
yeah, thanks guys. I'd love to come back at some point.
All right, Dean. Thank you so much.
Got it.